Good morning, everybody, and it's the Wild Medicine Duo here. Good morning, Claire. How you doing? Good to see you.
Morning. Yeah, I'm really well. A bit sad about the change in the weather. It's been a bit biblical the past few days, but apart from that, all good.
My friend just said, "Oh, by the way, it's rain all week." I was like, "Oh, thank you." But apparently Friday's going to be nice, and we're going to be in Aberfeldy on Friday. And we're wanting to have a jamming session down by the river. So that would hopefully be nice. But you know yourself, it can change like the drop of a hat, can't it?
That's it. I mean, you can always ask the universe. I find that's a pretty powerful tactic.
Yes.
But just don't ask too often.
So, what is happening wild medicine wise?
Well, we're just about to dive head first into September, which is, I always think of August and September as the season of abundance. So there's so much out there, food wise, medicine wise, for foraging. Obviously, if you have a look at the book Scotland's Wild Medicine, there's the September section, and what plants I focused on through September were elderberries, rowan, and rose hips. So we're kind of into that season of fruit, and obviously people have probably noticed that the brambles have been out. You know,
The
there's
brambles are amazing this year. Have
amazing
you
this year.
noticed that?
Absolutely, yeah. I think that combination of quite a warm spring and summer, and obviously we've had a bit of rain as well. It's really good conditions for the brambles, so they're nice and ripe at the moment. So and really big as well. So it's definitely a good time to be picking the brambles. Interestingly enough, I put the brambles in the October section in the book, but it just shows you that actually everything's a bit early this year. So they might well be past the picking stage by October. So do get out and start harvesting them now.
We've actually, in my brother's garden, and actually just kind of growing it across the wall, we've had loads and loads. And my sister actually and we decided to go. She was over for the week. She wanted to make bramble crumble. And we went away out looking for them. And then we came back and we're like, look at the ones that are right here, right under our nose, like millions of them. Because I think it depends, I'm assuming, what side of the light you're on. Some
Absolutely.
were
Yeah.
some were still really red and nowhere
Yeah.
near right, and others were like going the other way. So
If you've got brambles that are in a kind of cooler, shadier spot, then they'll probably not be ready yet. But the ones that are maybe against, as you say, like a warm stone wall or in full sun, they'll definitely be prime for the picking now and really sweet and juicy.
yeah, so it's interesting. I was up at Ingliston. I don't know if it's a hotel kind of in the Erskine Bishopton area. I don't know if you've ever been there, but they've got a beautiful orchard full of trees. And I was like, but it's that manpower thing, isn't it? To harvest the fruits and then to preserve them in some way,
Yeah.
because they had pears and peaches and apples, and I was like, get some volunteers up here to pick all this stuff. And it made me, because it was the same at Barmolloch, and I'm sure it's the same for you. You've got your herbal helpers, obviously, and obviously you're aware of what's coming and when it's coming because you're there all the time. But the harvest thing, and it's the same with foraging, it's like, oh, I meant to go and dry some of that. I meant to get some of, it's really creating these new habits and having a space and a place where you can dry stuff, pickle it, make it into medicines, teas, whatever you're going to do, so that you've got some nice stuff during the winter. Really.
Absolutely, yeah, very much so. Growing your own food and foraging is very much about preserving gluts of things when they start to come out. So, at the moment, like you were saying, there's loads of brambles. You want to be looking at ways that you can preserve them for health and for using through the winter. And again, it's been a bumper season for mushrooms. The chanterelles have been incredible this year. They were still kind of in the middle of chanterelle season. There's been, ceps coming out, and it really has been quite a season of abundance. So I suppose if you're just picking and harvesting for yourself and your own needs, then it's a bit easier. But if you're trying to do that on a larger scale or trying to preserve an entire orchard full of fruit, then it's a bit of a different ballgame. And yeah, you're absolutely right. It does take people power to do that. So it can be quite a tricky situation.
Yeah, well, and I suppose when because obviously when at Barmolloch, they've got so much food growing there, and I would harvest a lot of it when especially as you say, August is just like so much amazing stuff, and I would take it into the village for people. But again, it's quite work. It takes hours to do that.
Yeah, it's very labour intensive. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So how do you manage that? Is it mainly with the herbal helpers that you manage that?
No, to be honest, the herbal helpers don't really get involved so much in the preserving of foods. What herbal helpers is it's like a work exchange that I only run that 3 times a year. So it's basically people come and help in the garden. They help with weeding. They help to make medicine. So it's more about making herbal remedies and helping with kind of infrastructure in the garden. But the main bulk of the harvesting and preparation of the food side of things, that's me in my spare time. And this year, of course, I've got an apprentice who has been helping. She's actually away at the moment. She's not been around for a good few weeks now. So at the moment, it's mostly me that's doing it. But I do have some housemates that are also quite interested in helping as well. But yeah, there's no, I don't really have volunteers so much to do that at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I definitely understand the need to preserve and the time that it takes. But it's so worthwhile and it's so lovely when you come.
It takes a lot of time, but time is a valuable thing, and it's like, what do you want to spend your time doing? And for me, it's like, well, if you can invest that time, okay, not everybody has the time, but if you can invest that time into, creating these things that you're going to be putting in your body that are generating better health, then that's, such a valuable thing to do with your time.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are you seeing just now in terms of general health picture, and what are the medicines to help?
Yeah, so I suppose at the moment, what am I seeing in terms of general health? Do you mean like acute things, like what's kind of coming up, or?
Yeah, well, there seems to be a lot of people not being well, and I mean, I know we have these chronic kind of autoimmune things still lingering about for so many, but also just like the kind of, I don't know, I suppose allergies, summer flus, colds, whatever. What are you seeing anything kind of repeating?
Yeah, I think at the moment, I mean, a good few weeks ago, there was definitely some kind of respiratory infections going around, which feels like a kind of strange time of year, maybe for, lots of viruses and respiratory things to go around. But often at the turns of the seasons, which, the season is going to be turning soon. I mean, autumn is starting to creep towards us. We're definitely getting those first signs of changes. Then that is a time to definitely look out for immune system health. And of course, nature does provide in abundance those remedies that help to boost our immune systems at that time of year. So like I was saying, the elderberries and the rowan berries and the brambles and all the mushrooms obviously have immune modulating properties as well. So it's interesting that, there does tend to be that kind of thing around a bit more at the turn of the season, and nature's providing exactly what we need in order to support ourselves through those situations.
She's
but I suppose
so clever, isn't she?
So clever. Clever nature.
So can we just talk a little bit about elderberry and rowan berries? Because I think my thing is always like, we need sugar to make these things.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit to that? Because, we're always, we need to cut back on sugar. But so where is the balancing line? Because it's the same with bramble jelly. It's so goddamn good. I love it. And of course, we know a little bit of that is absolutely fine. But can you talk to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I suppose in terms of the elderberries, the main thing that I would do with them is to make tinctures. You can also make a kind of juice with them, and again, it's quite process intense when you start getting into like juicing and bottling and canning and things like that. It's not everybody that has the capacity to do that, but the main thing that I tend to do with them is to tincture them. And yes, you can make obviously syrups and cordials and things. If you want to avoid sugar, then that's not the road to go down. So what I would tend to do with the elderberries is harvest them and put them into a pan of water, bring them to the boil. So elderberries, they're easier to digest when they've been slightly cooked. Some people get a bit of an upset stomach from eating them raw, so it's best to cook them first. So I'll bring them to the boil. So this is what's called a kind of decoction. So we're decocting the berries. And then I'll just let them sit in that water until it's cold, and then I'll fix that with alcohol. So you're making basically a decocted tincture. Now, it's absolutely fine to just put your elderberries in some vodka. I know I've spoken about this a lot of time, tincture making, and we do that on as part of the retreats and some of the workshops that I do. So you can absolutely just put them straight into alcohol and let them sit for a month, strain it out. You've got an elderberry tincture. I feel like I get a better extraction if I decoct them first. And it's also reducing that risk of digestive upset as well. So what you're actually extracting there is elderberries are very high in vitamin C, which is water soluble. So the water helps to draw out the vitamin C. They're also very high in a type of chemical called anthocyanins, which is a very big word that basically means blue flavonoids. They're kind of antioxidant compounds, and rutin as well. They have rutin in them. So those compounds help to reduce cellular damage within the body. So basically helping to reduce inflammation. So because of the vitamin C compounds, because of the anthocyanins, because of certain other compounds within elderberry, they're also one of our most potent native antiviral and immune boosting fruits. So they're really, really good plant to get in there if you are struggling with a viral infection, if viral infections are something that you tend to go down with, or even just as a prophylactic, to take as a preventative to stop you from getting these kind of infections. So yeah, just taking like 5 mils of tincture every day over the autumn and winter. Again, obviously you can put them into jams and jellies and things like that, but if you want to avoid that sugar, then a tincture is probably the easiest way to preserve them.
So I'm just realizing that the difference between a tincture and a decoction tincture.
Yeah, so a decoction is, again, this is all in the book, page 63.
Is it really page 63?
Really, I have to repeat this so many times that I now know the page number. So there's a glossary of herbal preparations in the book that tells you exactly what I mean when I say a tincture, what I mean when I say a decoction, infusion, cream, ointment, poultice, all the whole shebang. But a decoction is essentially like a simmered tea. So it's you're adding water to a herb, a berry, a root, some bark, whatever it is, and you're simmering it in a covered vessel for, depends on the plant, how long you want to do that for, but usually it's about 20 minutes. Some things you would simmer for longer. So with the elderberry decoction, you're simmering it for 20 minutes and then letting it cool down. So it's almost like a double extract because you're doing 2 different processes.
Yes.
So then adding alcohol to make that into a tincture. Now, just to make a tincture, you don't do any of that simmering process. You just add alcohol to the berry or fruit or roots or whatever it is you're working with.
Yeah, I mean, making tinctures is actually really simple, but I think I've spoken to you about this before. Like I learned all about seaweed when I did my nutrition diploma, But it wasn't really until I was with you gathering it and putting it into the food that I really started putting it into my own food. So I think often we need to just be around somebody and we need to make it, and then you're like, okay. And again, it's just that, again, creating that new habit, isn't
Absolutely.
it?
Yeah. I think it helps to come and actually do it, because it demystifies the process. Yes. And actually, it's very, very simple, very straightforward. I mean, yes, you can get into the crazy science of certain extracts and make things more soluble and things, but actually, if we look at tinctures, they are alcohol based. Alcohol is an incredibly good solvent. Okay, it's not exactly a health food, but in those small amounts that you're having in a medicinal dose of a tincture, it's probably not going to do too much harm. And it is a very good carrier for a lot of the phytochemicals, the plant chemicals that are present in those plants. So alcohol does draw out a lot of different chemicals from the plants, and it does make them a lot more easy to absorb. That's why herbal medicines evolved that way. So yeah.
So do you want to talk about what medicines people will be making at our retreat in October?
Absolutely. Yes. So our retreat in October, so it's kind of over Samhain, so really that kind of turning point of the season. That's when we really take a deep dive into the winter. And so it's all about kind of getting your body prepared for winter, and what can you do to help your body get ready for the winter season. So what my focus is on the retreat this time is winter wellness and supporting the immune system. What kind of foods should we eat? How can we reduce our stress levels? Because obviously that has a massive impact on immune system health. What kind of little tonics can we do over the winter? So that's what we're going to be focusing on, is making some remedies that you can have. You can take them home and you can take them throughout the winter just to keep yourself as well as you possibly can.
And I think it's
a challenging time. It's a threat to just that cold and damp, and especially in in Scotland, where it's cold, damp, dark.
Well, exactly. And we know that, people who are vulnerable are more vulnerable in the winter.
Absolutely.
We've known that forever. So are you looking, we can be looking at prevention and having things made, because my mum was always a great one for, I've got a wee cream, I've got a wee, and there's a whole load of even the placebo, especially with kids. So here, we take this and you'll start to feel better. So I always thought that about the onion, the onion, what do you call it? What do you call that when you make it with the layers of sugar for the cough syrup?
Yeah.
Making your own cough syrup, because some of the crap that people, and it's extortionate as well, and it doesn't work. So, I mean, there's making your own cough syrup for kids is just a no-brainer.
Absolutely.
And again, they're getting kind of tended and, looked after, but without putting a whole load of absolute garbage into their wee bodies.
Onion and garlic syrup, such a great remedy. I mean, it's so simple. Most people have got those ingredients in their cupboards all the time. It's really cheap. It's really, really effective.
Yes, I know. Yeah, I was amazed, and it's how it all dissolves. It's really cool. It's a very cool jar to have in your. Makes you look like a herbalist.
I know. She comes to my kitchen shelves. It's like a witch's kitchen.
So let's talk about what will be around. Obviously, we're going to be in Lochalan again in the beautiful Morven Peninsula. I was talking to James from Arisig Sauna the other day, and he was hoping to get the sauna across for the festival, but unfortunately it's not going to happen. But I'm just looking forward to being back on that peninsula. I just love it. And obviously that road trip that you and myself and Ian took, where I was like, am I in the Jumanji cartoon here? It's just like, wow. And it's interesting being here, because there's some beautiful places up and around where my friend lives in Erskine we were looking at. But I was like, you need to see the Morven Peninsula. It's it's just next level, isn't it? Absolutely.
It's funny because often I'll travel to places and people are saying, "Oh, look how beautiful it is," and I'm like, "Yeah," but it's not.
You don't even know beautiful.
I know, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And I think you know, you were talking about feeling like you were in Jumanji, and it's because what we have here is a really specialized temperate rainforest. So it's actually a really it's a very precarious habitat because it's in decline, obviously, but it's also really special. And there's only kind of small patches of it left. But Morven has quite a high that Morven has quite a lot of temperate rainforest left. So we do have patches of those kind of ancient oak woods and things, which is, it's incredibly
Even when
special.
you don't actually understand what the trees, you feel it in your body. It's just this real, like, wow. Yeah. So what will we be? You've got your medicine garden. What kind of things can people expect when, and if they come in the retreat? What kind of things will they be working with?
In the garden, well, it's going to depend on whether we get early frosts or not, but
Yeah.
there should hopefully be some a few berries still hanging on in there. There'll hopefully be some calendula still in flower. I know we were working quite a lot with the fresh calendula last year. There'll probably be some roots and things to harvest as well. We usually work a lot with horseradish on that winter retreat, just because it's I think everybody's probably quite familiar with horseradish. Spicy, immune stimulating, thyroid supporting, circulatory stimulating. It's a very powerful plant. Obviously, a little bit goes a long way. Those are the kind of things. And obviously there'll be, food from the garden as well. There'll be all the kind of winter greens and things, winter salads, kale. Kale's an absolute powerhouse of deliciousness. Probably some squashes, maybe some courgettes still hanging on in there, again depending on the weather and whether we get late frosts and things. But there'll be quite a lot to play around with anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the squash, the sort of colours, the beetroot and the oranges and all these colours. And I put the horseradish into my fireside and I love it. All these kind of rooty, growing under the ground, and the over the ground vegetables, the difference in the sort of feel for them. We'll work with the weather on the retreat, depending on where we go. We're usually pretty lucky. We've obviously got a white sandy beach just down in front of the base camp there. And also one of the other big things that people like is that you get your own private room with your ensuite toilet and shower, because let's talk about the food. Because we have the luxury of having a farmer coming to help us. She's going to be doing massage. She's also just become a shaman. But she also has like the best meat in the country right there. So, and obviously you were a chef. I'm not sure if everybody knows that about you before you became a herbalist. So, and obviously I just love food, and I've done a lot of cooking for retreats and stuff as well. So between the three of us, we have just the best food ever. And I think we should point out, we really do not believe if you're living in Scotland without supermarkets, you could be a vegan. We want to look at the food that's indigenous to our culture, to our bodies, that has as little as possible footprint within the realms of what we have, obviously. So do you want to talk a little bit about what you made last year? I'm usually desserts. When you and Claire are in the kitchen, I do all the really delicious and nutritious desserts. So what kind of things could people look forward to eating? Because there ain't no lack in this retreat.
There's definitely not. As well as being a trained chef, I am also a self-confessed feeder. So I do I do love to create abundance, particularly within that culinary zone. So we do the intermittent fasting, of course. So we have two very substantial meals a day, and then plenty of time in between to let people digest. So the brunch is usually some kind of really wholesome vegetable soup. variety of different types. There's always like Lilia makes this lovely granola. There's lots of nuts and seeds, and there's usually a selection of fruits. There's salads. There's usually eggs in some form. We try and mix it up every day so that it's different things that you're getting every day. Nut butters. I make an organic sourdough spelt rye and oat seeded loaf, so that gets put out at the brunch as well. It's really kind of, it's an opportunity for us to get a bit creative in the kitchen. So I'm always adding in like foraged ingredients and, things from the garden and stuff that's going to make it a bit more exciting.
And it's super diverse. I mean, diversity points. Every single bite will have like 50 diversity points.
So that's key. We're trying to encourage all these things that we talk about and that we tell our patients and that we put out there on social media. So we're trying to encourage people to kind of just live in that way for a few days. So then the evening meals tend to be obviously Claire, our farmer shamanic massage friend, brings often, like there may be venison, there may be lamb, there may be beef. I usually combine that with some locally foraged berries, seaweeds, ferments either from the garden or fermented wild plants as well. I think last year I made a kind of pulled lamb dish that had it was sugar kelp, hawthorn, fermented wild garlic, and then we just had like loads of roasted vegetables, roast potatoes from the garden, loads of salads. So it's a proper feast, and the evening meal is 3 courses. The brunch is, again, it's a kind of buffet, but you can just have like a little bit and there's always plenty to go around. So it is one of the kind of highlights of the retreat is the food side of things. And for us it's just so fun and such an opportunity to get really creative in the kitchen with flavors, and also just thinking about that medicinal cookery as well, that deep nutrition that you can get from your food.
Well, it's the medicine, isn't it? And that's where we got lost along the way somehow, and that's why you and I come out of that retreat after 4 days feeling great because well, I'm a feeder too. And I love when you hear people, raving about the food, such a big part. And nobody misses the third meal of the day because we get up in the morning, we do our breath work and our meditation and whatever we're going to be doing. I want to talk a little bit about what I'm bringing in this year. And then obviously by that time, and it's better to do all these things on an empty stomach anyway. And then we have our meal at night, and it means that the body's had time to digest all that food. And then when you go to sleep, it can do all the magical and mysterious things that it's naturally designed to do. So so I've been delving into the heart frequency of 528, which is the center of the toroidal field, and it's also the center of the color spectrum. So that has taken me on this super exciting journey. So obviously when you come for 4 days with us at the retreat, I can really give you all the understanding of this vibration and frequency and how you can utilize it for your own healing, how to calm down your kids or your grandkids or your parents. It is really, really fascinating, and it's super easy. And the book that I've been reading is, I've had to one chapter, I've had to go, I just do not understand this. It's way beyond my level of mathematics. And he's talking about the pyramids and the photons and the phonons in the body, the sound and the light, and how that's affecting our vibration, along with all the other things, the foods, the herbs, the mindset. But it's really, for me, putting this really nice, it's nice to learn something new as well, isn't it? Absolutely. Putting this new kind of edge on what we're doing in terms of Scotland's wild medicine, really helping people to understand that certain frequencies heal, and even the herbs all have frequencies. So maybe you can obviously tell the complete chemical breakdown and how it works in the physical body and the mental body and astrologically and all the incredible information that you have on it. But it's also for people to really understand and trust their own bodies, to trust the herbs and to understand the vibration. I think that's key to being able to break free from a system that might not serve you in the future. It's got to be about trust in the body and just changing the relationship with this incredible vibrating mass. And in this book, he was talking about animals eating grass when they're not feeling well, or certain herbs. And he said they're going, the whole of nature is vibrating at 528, that green, yellow. So they're ingesting the vibration as well. And I thought that's what we are doing, obviously, at the Wild Medicine retreats. People are getting the vibration. And we've been told so many lies about food as well. Don't eat that and don't eat this. And, and people are still stuck in that paradigm. It's really crazy. And what we know is when you have, especially if you're blood group O, you have a decent amount of protein, especially organic, local protein with all these veggies. You're never going to be fat. You're never going to be hungry. And that's the thing, is that satiety that you get when you eat great food. And that's everybody that comes in the retreat says that. They're like, I can't believe I wasn't hungry at all. People that are bringing snacks because they're like, oh, intermittent fasting. And I'm going to be doing a lot more training and understanding around fasting as well, and intermittent fasting for hormone change, because perimenopausal, menopausal. And we'll have to say this retreat is unisex. Men are very, very welcome to come on this. We're all getting to a place, I think, where we're much more interested in feeling greater levels of joy, greater levels of energy, greater levels of connection, where, I think people are looking out at the world going, ah! So come to Lochalan and spend that time with us, eat incredible food. We'll look after you, and we're going to be giving you the latest and greatest information around healing your own body and learning, of course, obviously, I'll be teaching you how to let go of fear and anxiety and labels and concepts that you've picked up along the way, to allow you to really have complete faith in the energy system that we are. So I'm very excited. I could do with it myself actually next week.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? We've often said that at the end of the retreat, we feel like we've been on retreat because you get so much from it. And obviously, again, it's that resonance and that connection and that kind of energy. You're picking it up from everybody else that's been there and how much they've healed over the few days that we spend together. And obviously we're benefiting from each other's inputs into the retreat as well. So, I've definitely led workshops, done retreats and things in the past, and I've needed like a week to recover from it. But when we do these retreats together, I feel really good by the end of it. So that's great work.
So I met May. She came up to a breath work I was doing, and it was great to see her. And she was saying that first retreat she did with us in Barmall totally changed her life and put her in a completely different trajectory. She's running her own business now, and it's not all down to us, obviously, but it's just interesting how.
That's what I hope for when I'm running these retreats, is it's that spark that sets people onto, oh, I could do that, I can do this at home. And
Absolutely.
that butterfly effect that then leads from that spark, and sometimes people come and they do the thing for 4 days and then they go back to bad habits, which is very easy to do. We've all been there. But for some people, it really is that spark that just ignites that process of like, okay, now I can go and make this positive change in my life.
I know. And yes, and it's the community. And obviously we know that people have made new friends. They come and they click with other people. And that's really nice too. It's really nice to see these friendships and different collaborations happening. It happens at the festivals as well. So I'm going to be working on the Strontian festivals. Quite a lot of tickets sold already, so it's exciting. And we're in Aberfeldy next weekend. So if anybody's interested in coming on our retreat, and if you get any questions, it's in Lochalan. It's about, how long does it take to get to Lochalan from Glasgow?
It's about 3.5 hours roughly.
There's a ferry that you get over, so it depends obviously when you come in the ferry, and so it's not too far. If you've never been there, it's absolutely jaw-dropping. You get to hang out with me and the two Claires and get the vast amount of knowledge and passion that we have for life and health. And yeah, so if anybody's got any questions, you know where to get us. Just ping them in the box, whatever, and we'll hopefully see you there. So I think that's pretty good for us for September. Everybody knows what's growing and what you can get and how you can make it. You can get the book on Claire's website, and you can also get it in ours, but please get it in Claire's because she's got more.
I just want to go to the post office.
Yeah. And I'm too lazy to post them, but no, listen, I really look forward to seeing you. Well, I don't think I'll see you before then anyway, will I?
You'll see me at Struntian.
Oh, that's right. It's before the retreat. Yes. I'll talk to you about when I'm coming over for that. Yeah, great. That's right. Struntian first and then our retreat. That's great. Cool. Is there anything else you need to add? We covered all the kind of important things.
I think that's probably all the important things spoken about. And yeah, just looking forward to seeing everybody at another event soon.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, guys, remember if you're watching this on replay, just you get any questions, let us know. If not, we will see you somewhere really soon. Ciao.
Bye.